Hi, I'm Evie. So I'm the experience director and the production designer for Club Space. Yeah, so I think I'll start by saying that the green room, the old one, was the first project that Coloma gave me and was just like, here's your budget, redo this room. And then the world of redoing rooms sort of spiraled into place. And then they, at that point, just gave me full creative freedom to change it as often as I wanted and as often as I felt necessary, because we have so many people coming in and out. And the one thing I've always wanted it to feel like, even if it was smaller, and now that it is bigger, the bigger just means I get to play a little bit more with the decor and add more things that I think would add to the vibe. I wanted to feel like your grandmother's living room, you know, or like your cool grandmother's living room who was addicted to secondhand furniture and just putting the odd bits together but making it work somehow. This room being bigger, I got to add some cool design elements because at first I could only do a couch on the old room. So this room we have a couch, we have a really beautiful 80s deco mirror panel. I wanted to be playful because, you know, we have to be seriously funny, you know, jokingly serious. And so I added a tomato lamp, and I like to add things that don't necessarily fit together, but somehow work out in this room when you walk in. Okay, so I definitely brought in a bit of mid-century in here. The palette, I kept it dark because the club has a lot of light, which is beautiful. And of course it's dark during the nighttime, but when you come in, I wanted the lighting which is orange. It's always orange in here. It's always warm. And I wanted that to feel very comfortable and like a breath of fresh air. So it's really eclectic. We've got so many patterns. We have different textures. We have, I think, 4 different lamps that we play around with from standing, which we had to go source. And I think this one was from Tampa. That's something else that we do, is we drive everywhere to go get these pieces too. So we have sphere lamps, we have tomato lamp, we have floor lamps, we have interesting candelabras, and it just comes together in a cool way. Not to shame any other green room that I've walked into, because there have been some cool ones, but a lot of them have felt almost sterile, where, you know, it's a closet or it's a room and they give you a black leather couch, a pillow if you're lucky, and a rug if you're lucky, you know? And I think artists, whenever you step into that room, I feel like it's almost like stepping into like a question room, you know? And it's like, let's get out of there. So I thought, okay, if they're gonna spend time here, because sometimes they have a couple of sometimes hours, sometimes minutes before their set, but how can we make them comfortable? And so I went sourcing in Mexico City for vintage magazines and vintage cartoon books that I thought made sense or that were interesting. This one's an esoteric magazine on feng shui, and with some very interesting takes inside of it. This one is an electronic encyclopedia, because I figured with all the producers that we have coming by, you know, they've got some cool cartoons that if they just want to pick up and play with or check out, they're really interesting, and these caught my attention. So I just was like, okay, I figured they would catch someone else's attention. If you are feeling a little more creative, we have coloring books, because I mean, who doesn't love to color and like pass time that way? And then lastly, I think to mention is one of Coloma's personal favorites too, and one of mine, which is the Etch-a-Sketch. And these things are really just to connect us with, you know, the versions of ourselves that we kind of forget or just don't really play with that often. She's definitely a groundskeeper, you know. I think she's almost like a cat, where she's always just like cleaning out the energy and like holding that space. The reason Abigail is here is because 2020, the club had reopened and we were still sanctioned off in different tables. And a friend of mine decided to bring an alpaca named Rodolfo. Well, we named him Rodolfo at the club. He brought an alpaca through TSA and he was about Abigail's height. This is Abigail. Cute Abigail. If I stand up, she's almost here on me, which has been a really nice experience because it's not just a little giraffe that you see in the room. It's a giraffe that holds space. And if you need to hug her or dance with her or just have a good time with her, she came because unfortunately Rodolfo's legs broke. And then one of our stage managers were really kind to replace Rodolfo's memory with Abigail. And now she's standing strong and living her life. And I hope we get to keep her for as long as possible. Honestly, it's giving fire sign the whole way through. I'm getting Aries and Leo, both, I can't decide which one's rising and which one is her sun. I think she's a Leo sun with an Aries rising, which, be careful. But her groundedness and her way that she holds space amidst all the chaos and is still standing on all four legs gives that she has a moon in an earth sign. So I can't decide yet, but maybe Capricorn. She likes to go on field trips. So she lives in the green room, but every now and then, if you peek out in the crowd and you see a giraffe's neck hanging out, it's definitely her and she's unmistakable. And so I think one of my favorite memories is just having her in the DJ booth and having her in the crowd. And I also know Peggy really loves her. I think that this room holds such a special place for me because it was the first room that, outside of my personal home, that I was trusted to have full creative freedom with it. And it's taken on so many roles and identities, and I've had to understand what works with the room and what doesn't work with the room in regards to who's spending time here and how they feel when they're here. So I love that it's just kind of a little secret that I've had until now, where I love to be a part of it and a part of me be the experience that people get to have when they walk in. So I definitely feel that if you were to walk in my home or this room, you would still get the same energy. Thanks for joining, and I look forward to seeing you guys upstairs. Well, we do. I love you any kind of way, you say what's on your mind.